Hey guys, I'm back with another writing lesson, and we're coming to the end of this unit. So I want to kind of, squeeze in the last couple lessons. Um, what I want to talk about first is using all your superpowers as a writer to work independently. Remember, I taught you independently means by yourself. So I'm going to use the example of Spider-Man. Remember, Spider-Man has another person called Peter Parker that he is during the day, or during, when he's not Spider-Man, he's Peter Parker. And Peter Parker, when Spider-Man is Peter Parker, he still has all his superpowers. He could still swing from tall buildings and spin webs and help people in danger. But he only uses those powers when he's dressed as Spider-Man. For some reason, when he's in that costume, he becomes super. So when Spider-Man needs to, help someone, or he changes into, when Peter Parker needs to help someone, he changes into Spider-Man, and he uses all his powers. So writers can do this too. Writers don't just sit around and wait for someone to tell them what to do. They use all their powers just like Spider-Man does. So if you need to pretend that you're going to change into your super writer costume, put on your cape, and change into your costume, then you do that. Use your imagination, put on your super writer costume, and you're going to use all your super writer powers. Are you going to be Peter Parker and say, "Where's the paper? I don't have a pencil. I can't think of any ideas. I don't remember what to do"? No, you're going to use all of the superpowers that you've learned. What superpowers do we have as realistic fiction writers? Well, we know how to create pretend characters. We know how to invent adventures for our characters. We know how to get the characters in trouble and out of trouble. We know how to add tiny little details and zoom in. We know how to study mentor authors, and we know how to spell the best we can, and we even know how to make chapters in our book. We know how to use patterns in our book to add more details. And that's the one I'm going to talk about right now, is using patterns. Famous authors use, like Cynthia Ryland, they use patterns to stretch out part of their stories. And a lot of times they'll use 3 details to stretch out their stories. So in this book, Henry and Mudge and the Cold Shivers, there's so many patterns. Here's one. It says, when Henry woke up and jumped out of bed, Mudge didn't move. He didn't get up. He didn't lick Henry's face. He didn't even shake Henry's hand. And he always shook Henry's hand in the morning. You see the 3 details? He didn't, he didn't, he didn't. That's a pattern. Let's see. I think I have another pattern marked here. On this page, the vet looked at Mudge's wet eyes. She listened to Mudge's shivering chest. She felt Mudge's shedding stomach. You see the 3 things she did? She looked at his eyes. She listened to his chest. She felt his stomach. 3 things to stretch out the details. Okay? You can do that in your stories. I did it in my beach story. I said, she loved to play. Michelle was 7 years old. She loved to go to the beach, especially with her family and friends. Oh, that's not the part. Where's the part that, let's see. She was, here. She was worried about sharks in the water. She was worried about someone pushing her into the water. But mostly she was worried that she would drown because she couldn't swim. See the 3 things that I added? You can do that in your story to stretch out the story. Okay? Adding 3 details. Okay? So you might want to try that in your story. I'm thinking about how I could add that into my kite story. Maybe remember Emma, when Emma got the kite stuck in the tree. Maybe Emma was scared that she couldn't get the kite. Emma was scared that the kite was broken, but mostly Emma was scared that Michelle would be mad at her. I think I'm going to add that into my story. If you look at this story by Avery, he tried to do it. This is just the end of his story, which I'll attach below. It says, "Then Joshua looked around for his mom, but his mom wasn't to be found. 'Oh no,' cried Joshua. 'Where is my mom?' Joshua looked into the door. 'No sense of mom,' whispered Joshua. Then Joshua went inside the door to find his mom. Then Joshua was inside, and he saw his mom, and he ran to her and gave her a big hug. You see how the pattern? He looked into the door, there was no mom. He went inside, and then he was inside. The pattern. That one needs a little bit of work, but Avery tried to stretch out his pattern. So remember, you can try a pattern in your own writing, just like Cynthia Ryland did, or just like Avery did. And remember to use all the superpowers that you've learned. Look at those charts under writing tools. All of those superpowers are there, okay? And I'll see you next time.